Forget Area 51, forget Mars. If you want to find a genuine, mind-bending, shape-shifting alien, you do not need to look up at the stars. You need to look down, right down into the ocean. Meet the cuttlefish. Do not let the cute name fool you. This thing is not a fish, and there is nothing cuddly about it. It is a cephalopod, a cousin to the octopus and the squid, and it possesses a biological arsenal so overpowered, so utterly broken, that if you put it in a superhero movie, people would say it's entirely unrealistic. Think about it, we are talking about a creature with 3 hearts. It bleeds blue-green copper-based blood. It has eyes shaped like the letter W that give it a 360-degree field of view. It has 8 arms, 2 hidden feeding tentacles that shoot out like grappling hooks, and a brain that is practically wired directly into its skin. In the last few videos, we talked about the mantis shrimp's bullet punches, the immortal jellyfish laughing at death, the blue-ringed octopus packing enough venom to drop a rhino, and the microscopic water bear surviving the vacuum of space. But the cuttlefish? The cuttlefish is nature's ultimate stealth bomber, its most advanced illusionist, and quite possibly the most intelligent invertebrate on planet Earth. Strap in, because today we are tearing apart the biology of the cuttlefish, and by the end of this video, you are going to be convinced that aliens are already living among us. Let's go! Okay, let's start with the superpower that makes the cuttlefish legendary: absolute unadulterated invisibility. Now, when a chameleon changes color, it's actually pretty slow. It's driven by hormones and it takes time. But the cuttlefish changes color at the speed of thought. It takes them roughly 200 milliseconds to completely change their entire body pattern. That is literally faster than you can blink. How do they do it? It all comes down to their skin, which is less like standard animal skin and more like the ultra high definition 8K OLED TV sitting in your living room. Right beneath the surface of their skin, they have millions of tiny organs called chromatophores. Think of these as microscopic balloons filled with pigment: red, yellow, brown, and black. But here's the crazy part. Every single one of these balloons is attached to a tiny ring of muscle, and those muscles are wired directly to the cuttlefish's brain. When the cuttlefish wants to turn brown to match a rock, its brain fires an electrical signal. The muscles pull the brown balloons open wide, and boom, instant color. But wait, it gets crazier, because rocks and coral aren't just red, yellow, and brown. What about the shimmering blues and greens of the ocean? Beneath the chromatophores, the cuttlefish has a second layer of cells called iridophoras. These act like microscopic prisms, reflecting ambient light to create stunning iridescent blues, greens, and silvers. And beneath that layer, there's a third layer called leucophoras, which are basically biological mirrors that scatter pure white light to help them blend into bright sandy seabeds. It is a multi-layered biological LCD screen controlled by direct neurological impulse. They can create millions of different patterns, mimic the exact dappled sunlight coming through the water, or completely vanish against a backdrop of complex coral. But here is the thing, being the right color is only half the battle. If you look like a rock, but you are smooth as glass, predators are going to notice. You need texture. And the cuttlefish, it doesn't just change color, it physically alters its physical form. Imagine if you could just decide right now to make your skin grow spikes, and then 5 seconds later, melt back down to being perfectly smooth. The cuttlefish has specialized muscles in its skin called papillae. By contracting these specific circular muscles, they physically push fluid upward, forcing their skin into 3D shapes. They can make themselves look like a spiky piece of coral, a bumpy rock, or long, flowing strands of seaweed. They can literally sculpt their own bodies in real time. It's like watching a transformer made of jelly. So they use this incredible skin to hide from predators like sharks and dolphins, but they also use it to hunt, and this is where the cuttlefish goes from being a master of disguise to a straight up psychological warfare expert. When a cuttlefish spots a delicious crab, sometimes it doesn't just sneak up on it, sometimes it puts on a light show. They do this thing called the passing cloud display. They ripple dark and light bands across their skin in rapid succession, creating a strobe light effect. It is completely hypnotic. Scientists believe this rapidly moving pattern actually stuns or mesmerizes their prey. The crab just sits there, completely frozen, staring at the flashing lights like it's at a techno rave, completely unaware that it is about to die. And then, bam! 2 hidden feeding tentacles, completely separate from its 8 regular arms, shoot out at lightning speed, grab the prey with hooked suckers, and pull it right into a razor-sharp beak hidden in the center of its arms. Game over. Okay, let's talk about their eyes because this is where the cuttlefish breaks the laws of physics and biology. Look at that pupil. It's shaped like a W. Why? Because they live in a bright, sun-drenched, shallow water environment, and that W shape acts like a built-in visor to block out the harsh glare of the sun from above, while letting in the ambient light from below. It gives them an insane 360-degree field of vision. They can literally see behind themselves without turning their heads. But here is the absolute wildest paradox in the animal kingdom. Remember how I just spent 5 minutes hyping up their ability to change into millions of different colors? Cuttlefish are completely 100% colorblind. I am not kidding. They only have one type of color receptor in their eyes. They see the world entirely in shades of black, white, and gray. So how? How does an animal that cannot see color perfectly color match itself to a yellow and pink coral reef? This kept scientists awake at night for decades. The current leading theory is absolute genius. Because their pupils are shaped so weirdly and because their lenses are shifted, light hits their eyes differently depending on its wavelength. This creates something called chromatic aberration. Basically, the cuttlefish rapidly changes the focus of its eye to feel the different wavelengths of light. They aren't seeing red or blue, they are seeing the physical blurring of the light waves and calculating the color based on how out of focus it is. They are doing advanced quantum physics in their heads just to blend in with a rock. And speaking of their insides, if you managed to cut one open, you wouldn't find red blood. You'd find vibrant, glowing blue-green blood. Our blood is red because we use iron to carry oxygen. Cuttlefish use copper, which creates a protein called hemocyanin, turning their blood blue. And because copper is actually worse at carrying oxygen than iron, the cuttlefish has to overcompensate. So it doesn't just have one heart, it has two branchial hearts that pump blood specifically to the gills to get oxygenated, and one systemic heart that pumps that blue blood to the rest of its body. Now running a multi-layered OLED skin screen, analyzing chromatic aberration, and operating a 3-hearted circulatory system requires massive computing power, and the cuttlefish delivers. In terms of brain to body mass ratio, the cuttlefish has one of the largest brains of any invertebrate on the planet. They are incredibly smart. They can navigate complex mazes. They can remember where they hunted yesterday and choose not to hunt there today so they don't deplete their food source. They can even pass the marshmallow test for delayed gratification. They will refuse to eat crab meat in the morning if they know they will get their absolute favorite food, live grass shrimp, in the evening. But the absolute peak of cuttlefish intelligence is seen in how they date. During mating season, massive male cuttlefish fight fiercely over the females. The big guys put on huge, aggressive zebra-striped patterns to intimidate each other and guard the females. If you are a small, scrawny male cuttlefish, you have zero chance of winning a physical fight against the big guys. So what do? You use your brain and your skin. The small male will literally split his body pattern directly down the middle. On the side facing the female, he flashes the male mating colors saying, "Hey girl, I'm a guy, let's do this." But on the side facing the big, angry, aggressive male, he changes his color and pattern to perfectly mimic the mottled camouflage of a female. The big male looks over, sees what he thinks is just another female swimming by, and ignores him. The small male, known as a sneaker male, swims right past the bouncer, mates with the female under the big guy's nose, and swims away like an absolute legend. They are literally cross-dressing, split-screen ninjas of the ocean. So, we have a creature with 3 hearts, blue blood, invisible shape-shifting skin, mind control strobe lights, W-shaped polarized eyes, and massive intelligence. With all of these insane evolutionary cheat codes, why haven't cuttlefish taken over the oceans? Why aren't they ruling the world? Because nature demands balance. And for all their incredible powers, the cuttlefish was given one massive tragic flaw. They live incredibly short lives. Despite all that brain power, a cuttlefish only lives for about 1 to 2 years. They grow incredibly fast, they eat voraciously, they mate once, and then they die. The females lay their eggs, guard them until they hatch, and then succumb to rapid cellular degradation. The males die shortly after mating season. It is the ultimate live fast, die young strategy. They are shooting stars of the ocean, burning so incredibly bright, but only for a fleeting moment. Just imagine what a cuttlefish could achieve, what it could learn if it lived for 20 or 50 years instead of just 1. So there you have it, the cuttlefish, an animal that bends light, alters its physical shape, calculates quantum blur, and hacks the minds of its prey. If that isn't an alien, I honestly don't know what is. If this video blew your mind, you have to see our video on the mantis shrimp, the animal that punches so fast it boils the water around it. Click right up here to watch that next. Drop a like if you respect the sneaker male cuttlefish's absolute hustle, hit that subscribe button to join our journey through the weirdest corners of planet Earth, and as always, keep exploring. See you in the next one.